This episode is brought to you by Deal. Managing a global team is complex. Deal makes it simpler with payroll, HR, IT, and compliance, all in one place. That's why over 35,000 businesses trust Deal to hire, pay, and manage teams worldwide. See how Deal works at deal.com/Adrian Tan to learn more. That's DEEL.com/ADRIANTAN. Deal, your forever people platform.
I quit my corporate job when I was pregnant with my second son. So that was back then when I decided to take a break from the corporate world and, just to reflect back and see what I've done so far and what would I like to do next in the next chapter of my life. Yes, the idea of having your own business sounds very nice. Your time flexibility is there and then you get to do a lot of planning on your own. But then again, there is also the flip side of the coin where your time is never enough probably, because there are so many things waiting for you to do and you need to make sure that everything goes as planned.
Hello, Florence.
Hi,
Thank you for
Adrian.
coming onto the podcast.
Thanks for having me here.
Very hard to get you on.
Okay.
Now, before this podcast, I actually also tried to do some research about you online, so I can find some talking points for us to discuss today. Cannot find anything. So I think this episode is not just for my audience, but also for myself. Yeah. So we know each other for some time, and it was, I think, decades ago when I was in recruitment. You were one of my suppliers, but ever since then, you've done different things and also many things. So could you start by giving the audience some background about what you were doing?
Hi, I'm Florence. Thanks, Adrian, for having me on board. So actually, previously I was doing corporate role, and after that, I think when I had my son, we decided that time was more limited when I do corporate jobs. So I decided to evolve into a more creative and time non-limiting type of role, and decided to start my own business.
Can you describe the kind of businesses that you're doing right now?
Actually wear multiple hats. I actually run a boutique digital marketing agencies, and we are also an event organizer as well.
And I remember during the last conversation, I understand you are also involved in some sunscreen business
yes.
as well, which you basically provide sunscreen on demand.
That's right.
In Sentosa Beach.
Correct.
And you also mentioned something about neon lighting, something that you are looking to explore.
Oh, yes.
So all in about 4 different businesses.
Exactly.
Which is quite a wide variety, and some
Correct.
of them actually sunscreen, I can't see overlap with any of them, so we'll touch on that a bit later
Okay.
on. But let's start with the very first one that you've gone into, because for many of my guests so far, moving from a corporate role to something on their own is always a roller coaster journey. So I'd like to understand, bring us back in time. How did that come about? And what was your thought process, emotional process, when the opportunity was standing in front of you?
I quit my corporate job when I was pregnant with my second son. So that was back then when I decided to take a break from the corporate world and, just to reflect back and see what I've done so far and what would I like to do next in the next chapter of my life. And then it just happened that my old customer called me up and asked me for some help on their marketing strategies. And then he was asking me, why don't you just do something for me? And then I was thinking, hey, actually, I have the expertise, so why not? And so this little idea formed. And then I started my own boutique digital marketing agency, and that's how we grew from there. Yeah.
But was it a straight away decision, or was it something that you have to sit on? And also bearing in mind, you quit your corporate role because of a kid. Family time would definitely be impacted if you were to do something on your own. Were those some of your consideration? Are there any other consideration before you decided to go ahead with this idea?
Yes, actually, one of the main consideration was I will have less time for my child if I am actually having a business. And then the other part, of course, would be that would I bear to tear myself away from my young children? And that's also another consideration. And then the other part is, am I ready to step up to do this on solo entrepreneurship kind of role? And so that was a couple of the considerations that I had prior to taking the big step up. Yeah.
So how do you eventually resolve all those?
Okay. So, we always tell ourselves, one life, live it, right? So I decided that, since I am actually at this stage in my life where I feel I'm pretty comfortable and my kids are settled with their schools, with their preschools, and things are pretty much in routine, I thought that I should just go ahead with the idea. And that's how it all started.
So when you started, it was the digital marketing agency first, and you were doing a one-person show basically.
Initially, yes. And of course, then I built a small team. So then I started with my specialists. I had to source for specialists. I had to source for developer. So we build websites as well. We also do campaigns for our clients to generate leads and stuff. So it's basically a small team that I have that works with me. And then that's all it started. And then, of course, I think business took off when word of mouth spread. And then that's how when I started on my events as well, that's the event organizing company. That's when I think the business grew also.
Okay. How big is the marketing team right now? 8 people. Okay. And then subsequently you branch into events. I wouldn't say it doesn't have overlap. There's some overlap, but how did that come about?
Event overlap is because I am a person who likes to, I'm a people person, right? So in general, for me to take that step was not a very difficult thing because I always had an interest in creating interesting, conceptualizing things. Like even when my children were small, I like to conceptualize their birthday parties. I like to plan it. I think that came quite natural for me. So yeah, my friends used to tell me you throw the best parties, you know. So that was like feeling very sense of satisfaction from there. So you feel like you like to see people's faces happy and how they enjoy your events. So I think that was the next natural step forward. And then, so one day I came across this, some events, right, that I was thinking, hey, you know, actually I could do this too. So that idea sprouted in my mind. And then I took the step forward. I approached a shopping mall. I proposed an event that I wanted to do. Also my own vendors.
You co-prospected the shopping mall.
I prospected the shopping malls. I approached the shopping malls as well. I started from there. Then I sourced for my own vendors who would like to participate in this event that I would like to curate, right? And the shopping mall liked my idea. Then I finalized a place, I finalized a date, a period. Then I speak to different customers with different sort of business. Most of them will be consumer type of business where they would like to promote their products. I found a lifestyle kind of roadshows, to thematic ones, to actually bring them into the shopping malls. And I think they did very well from there, and then everything just took off.
So what are some of the flagship events that you have put together so far?
I've done home and lifestyles. I have done smart home type of roadshows as well. I also most recently did a Ladies First Expo at Suntec Convention Hall. So all these are the ideas that grew from a small idea. Then it became an idea that I eventually went to execute on.
I believe you also have a small team supporting you for...
I do have my contractors. I do have my administrative support. But I would say for events, it's a very personal thing. So a lot of times the customer come to you because they trust you, they believe in you. And it's because of you that they have the faith to join your event. So events can be a very personal thing, but yes, I do have a small support team for that.
Even though there might be some, but not a lot of overlap between the first two businesses, was the experience from your first business helpful in you starting and growing the second one?
Yes, to a certain extent, definitely. Because when you start a business, it's a lot about people building of relationships and the faith and the trust that they have in you for being able to generate leads for them to grow their business as well. And then, so from there are some customers who are also keen to actually explore the shopping mall roadshow type of roadshows. And that's when it grew also, because there are certain type of customers that suits what we do for the event organizing. And I think that so that actually helped.
So there are things that you can leverage on. But then sunscreen, how do you explain the sunscreen business?
Sunscreen was just before COVID. So it was an idea that stemmed from US. The idea was we wanted to create the world's most unique solar-powered sunscreen dispensing lotion. The first and only solar-powered sunscreen dispensing lotion. As we know, plastic waste is, everyone's talking about sustainability days. So we wanted to go wasteless. If you were to ask yourself, right, how many times have you actually finished using a tube of sunscreen lotion? Never, right? Usually it ends up getting expired, or it just get put at the back of your shelf. The idea of doing this is to actually go wasteless, support sustainability, and to keep the beach clean, So everyone will have a clean beach, the sea will be clean, creatures will have a beautiful environment to live in. That's how this whole idea came about, and we decided to bring it forward and build this machine.
I see. So it's really more of a CSR kind of thing.
So we actually brought it, and then Sentosa liked the idea, and they invited us to have the sunscreen at their beaches, and that's how it all started.
So imagine that one is quite hassle-free lah. It's quite
Yes.
low min.
Yeah, we just need a technician to maintain it on a daily basis, to check on the sunscreen dispensing, to make sure everything is dispensing fine, and also to make sure it's clean. So we just have a cleaner tidy up a bit, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. And again, during our last conversation, you mentioned about going into the neon...
Oh,
Sorry,
the
LED
LED,
lights.
yes.
Okay, so that one is a new thing. Has that already started?
Yes, it has actually.
Okay.
Being in events, there are times when we need to actually have some support in terms of the lightings, the backdrops and stuff. So that's when LED came in really suitable. So this idea stemmed when I went on a holiday, on a business trip rather, to China. And then I realized, oh wow, look how advanced the LED lights are progressing now in the shopping malls and in events and exhibitions. So that's when I decided that it would be great to bring it to Singapore because it's pretty much untapped. And also, I think there is a good market for that purpose.
Are there any existing use case in Singapore that you've seen people using LED?
Oh yes, in exhibitions, that's when they use it as a backdrop. Also, even in shopping malls, like when we have car roadshows, for example, we actually display as a backdrop as well. And you can actually play the video. It can be static ads or it could be a video graphic ads. And basically, it's also in the shopping mall. Some of them like to have it, say, for example, putting it on a pillar, and they can actually play videos as well to showcase products. So it's very eye-catching, and the difference between LED and the typical conventional LCD is LED does not have reflection, and it's a lot brighter. So you are able to actually get a much better quality type of graphic from there.
And for concurrent businesses, kids, and other obligation, it sounds like 24 hours a day is not enough for you. How do you manage your typical day in the life of Florence?
Okay, so morning, wake up 6 a.m., prep the kids stuff. Used to have a helper, but because the kids are right now, I think, more independent, so make do without. So I'll prepare their snack box and then send them off and then kiss them goodbye. And then after that, I will probably go and maybe if I have some time, I might do some stretches in the morning just to keep myself energized. Then have a light breakfast. Then followed by starting my day, turning on my laptop, checking my emails, thinking of what I need to do for the day. Usually I'll try to plan it the night before and the week before, like on the Sundays. So usually I try to reserve weekends for the kids and families. Unless I have events, then that's when I have to commit my time there. But otherwise, I would actually plan my day, like say on Sunday, I'll start planning what to do for the following week. And my appointments will also be fixed maybe a couple of weeks before that. So it will just go in line. So I use my digital calendar a lot. So that's what I rely on.
But how do you allocate your time? Do you do it equally across all four businesses, or is really depending on what the week will transpire, then you allocate accordingly?
Yes, usually I will allocate pockets of time for each business. But depending on the needs, and for events, it takes up more time because there's a lot of planning and conceptualization and execution to do. For digital planning, I have a team who supports me. So usually my day is spent on a weekly basis. I will have regular meetings with my clients and together with my team to run through their campaign reports and stuff like that and the performance. And then for the LED, it's the ongoing business. We are actually marketing it. And then there are companies who are approaching us. So we will work out, say, like proposals to work, and we'll go down on site to see what are their needs. Yeah. So busy period. But yes, you're right. It's depending on the schedule and the demands of each business. Then I will adjust my time accordingly. So there's no fixed number of hours for it.
Earlier on, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. She started a franchise business. And of course, she posted a lot on IG to bring traffic and all that. When you look at that, it seems like, wow, everything doing very well. So I was having a conversation, it's like, wow, it's hard. A lot of up and down. She only have one business to manage. You have four. What are some of the struggles that you have to go through as well?
Yes, the idea of having your own business sounds very nice. Your time flexibility is there, and then you get to do a lot of planning on your own. But then again, there is also the flip side of the coin where your time is never enough, probably, because there are so many things waiting for you to do. And you need to make sure that everything goes as planned, and you also need to oversee a lot of things from logistics to planning to business development, to execution, to just overseeing the entire thing. So of course, because I have so many type of businesses, right? So the other thing is, it's all about, I think the challenges we'll face is about the time is not enough to manage. And so it's very important to actually build a very structured way of managing your work so that you don't get disrupted. Because it's very easy to get disrupted halfway, midway, when a call comes up for another business or an email pop up for another business. So I try to segregate my time where I'll attend to this one first, and then I'll attend to the next one sometime later. So if something is urgent, then I will see how high is the urgency. If it's really urgent, then I will try to attend to it as soon as I can. But I try not to distract myself from what I'm doing to just jump into another one. I think time management is very important.
Do you impose any strict rules on yourself? Oh, next 3 hours, my phone is airplane mode. Nobody can disturb me.
I thought I could, but then I realized I couldn't. So not exactly possible, because my phone is always like ringing or messaging is always coming.
It's part of your job.
Yeah, it's literally part of my job already. I try to prioritize then what to reply first and what to handle, because if I were to handle everything that came in at the same time, then I would really be all over the place.
I personally had the same problem as well. Treating all the work, all the responses, all the emails, all the new requests as like a factory worker. It's like first out,
Yes,
first out.
yes.
Actually, don't have to first in,
Yeah,
first out.
don't have.
It has no material impact.
Correct.
And I learned that when I go on a long holiday and there were times where internet wasn't well. So I missed a lot of new requests. And when I came back, everything's still okay.
Yeah, I went on a long holiday as well with families, and then I brought my laptop as well. So this is the thing, when you are running your own business, the laptop literally needs to be with you in every trip that I go. For me personally, I need that, because this is just when things happen, you might not just need your laptop. But I try not to turn it on unless it's necessary. But it is something that I always bring along on all my trips.
One thing that I learned as well, because especially during COVID, I realized when every one of us are stuck at home, I would literally be working the entire day at the dining table. And fortunately, the dining table is shared. So when dinner comes,
you
I
just
would
have
be
to
chased
clear
away.
it.
If not, I literally could continue to work all the way. Yeah, and that I think become a hidden issue that nobody noticed. That is why right now, whenever I do have to bring my laptop out, I try don't bring charger.
I actually tried that also. Don't bring charger. But certain days you just know you cannot, don't bring. But that works. When your laptop battery is ending, you just know, okay, I gotta stop. No choice, because I didn't bring out my charger and it's about time to stop. So you just rush through what you need and you prioritize your work. Then the other thing that I realized when I was starting my business was that I had a tendency back then to overwork. Because like what you said, COVID makes a lot of people work from home, right? So a lot of times I bring my work all the way from dinner to the night. So the moment I finish my dinner, I send my kids to bed, then I start working through the night again. And then until I'm really tired out, then I'll end my day. So you don't know when is the cutoff. And that's not very healthy, right? These days, I try to be more work-life balance. I try to tell myself after a certain time, things can wait.
Did that period actually lead to any observable health issues?
No, but I was more tired than usual in the day. So you feel like you're not up to your normal standard as you could, because maybe because your peak performance is not so much as what you're not at your most peak performance, I would say, because maybe you're fatigued from the overworking late. So that was something which I wanted to make a change. So that's when I started to instill certain type of cut-off time for myself. So I would always have at least a reasonable work-life balance. Yeah.
I think it's fortunate that you actually caught it early on. Many people that I know of, unfortunately, forced to catch it after something happened.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, burn out lah, eczema come back lah, warded in hospital.
Oh yeah, okay.
For a lot of extreme reasons.
I tend to be more self-aware. Like the self-awareness is stronger. So then also because I have young kids, right? So I'll also look at the time that, they will be asking for me when during their bedtimes, and they will be like, why are you always on your phone? Or why are you always on your laptop? Then I'm like, okay, so maybe there's a time that I really need to set, because I don't want to be someday when they grow older and then they are the ones that I'm asking, why are you always on your phone? Or why are you always on your laptop? Then they'll be like, Mama, you were doing that too. So it was a self-reflection for me as well.
I am also curious to learn based on all that you've gone through right now. Your first business, you've been doing it since 2016, also about 9 years already. What are some of the key lessons that you have learned over the past 9 years across all these 4 different businesses of what it would take for someone to become a solopreneur or an entrepreneur?
In general, to be a solopreneur, you should just start now. There's no when are you really ready? No one is ever really ready, right? The important thing is you just must know this is what you want to do and just go do it. And along the way, you fine-tune your own ways of working. You also try to figure out what works best for you. And trials and errors, you also learn along the way. So if you are an aspiring solopreneur, then I think you should just not think too much and just take the step out first. And then from there, you will find your way. Of course, along the way, it is very good if you could find a small network team of support, to have some people that can give you some kind of support or encouragement, or even find a mentor that you think might work. And I think this will be very useful for someone who's starting.
When you decided to start the first business, were there also discouragement?
Yeah, of course. I think when you first started, then you will be like, what if no one buys my idea, Or what if it didn't work out the way I want it to be? So there were times when you doubt whether you could do this. But then again, after you see small wins, celebrate the small wins. I think that's what's important. So when you have achieved something, then you celebrate your small wins, you feel more empowered. Then I think that's what propels you forward to actually do more and be more confident about your business and what you can bring to the people.
So when you go through your entire 9 years of journey, do you also observe some of the missteps or some of the mistakes that you could highlight with the audience, and hopefully if they're going through the same thing, they'll be able to avoid?
Don't put too much stress on yourself at the beginning. Everyone will want to do their best and they will have very high expectations. But the thing is that you must believe and remember to tell yourself what bring you forward, what bring you there in the first place to start this. There will be some hits and misses that we will find along the way. For example, when I started my first event, right? It was an outdoor event, and then the weather changed. Then things became really bad because it started raining and everything. So we were like really worried, was anyone going to come for this event? But I guess because we had done some good planning back then to prepare for contingency plan. So you need to prepare plan A, plan B, and plan C, right? For a different kind of situation. And so fortunately for us, we had plan A and then plan B. And then plan B managed to come in place due to the weather change. And then people still turned out wet, but they were happy. And of course, your event turned out to be successful itself. Also makes you feel good, because that means you have actually learned from this experience that we must always be well prepared, always have a backup plan, I would say. So if this doesn't work out, just go for plan B. If plan B doesn't work out, always have a plan C. So never just dive on and rely on one plan, because if things go as planned, you will actually be a little lost. So always be ready and try to prepare in advance and do your homework and research first.
And with that said, across the span of your journey, is there a favorite failure that led to later success?
A favorite failure of mine that I have come across during my work would be when an event doesn't go as planned. And that's probably where I learned that I need to be better and come up with plan B and C. So there was this other event that I had that, because it was discussed at a very short timeline, and we decided, okay, we'll just take up this project and we'll just go ahead to plan it. But then the thing is, this client was never ready. They were always changing their mind. They were always having hesitations about taking the step forward. It actually created a lot of delays in the planning and the marketing. Marketing was not done. When marketing is not done and planned ahead in advance with sufficient time, it is a bit hard to coordinate, and that would also result in the event getting lesser. And that's something I learned, that is, if someone is not ready, if a client is not ready, let them plan at their end and ensure that they are really ready to take the step forward first before we go ahead to take up the project. Because if the other side party is not in a good position to decide, it is also very hard for us to bring it forward for them. They need to know what they really want first. Then we can, because when you throw them ideas, if they are not confident of their own event, then it's very hard for us to help them.
What are some telltale signs that a client is not ready?
When they are always changing their mind, when initially they want A, then suddenly they tell you they want B, and then they want C, and then suddenly they want to bring forward the timeline to, like, maybe the event is supposed to be in 6 months time. They said, let's just try to do it in 2 months time because that's how we want it. So in the eagerness to please them and to help, because that was one of our new first few business, right? So we just accommodate to them. But then again, don't be afraid to say no, actually, if that is something that you are not comfortable with. So I've learned to also say no, and not so that we actually protect our own interests, and also we also want to make sure that the client gets what they the kind of results that they want. So don't be afraid to tell them it is not possible. So that is something that I think I have learned, which is important, because when you try to overplease them and things doesn't go as planned, that's when it became the lesson learned that we should have just waited.
I'd like to move on to the next part on prospecting, because any businesses out there require customers in order to have it work. I personally know a lot of solopreneurs who usually it's because of the lack of business that 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 years down the road, they decide to quit and then go back to corporate. In your case, you mentioned earlier on, at least some of the earlier businesses came from your previous contact, so from your previous job. What about the subsequent one? Because I would imagine one cannot just rely on that group. So moving forward beyond that, what are some of the channels or tactics that you believe work better for you in trying to secure new business?
One of the way of that I managed to get new businesses is also through word of mouth from my existing customers who actually introduced me to their other business contacts. I think I'm very grateful to them also, because I think they have been working with my company for some time, right? So they are they have faith in us, and they would like to recommend their business contacts to us to actually do the same, to help their contacts with their other businesses. So that's one way, word of mouth. And then the other one is we actually also during trade shows, we will visit them. We'll visit trade shows in Singapore and events. We will also sometimes travel to overseas to speak to go to different trade shows and speak to different vendors there as well, to find out on their needs and their wants, and then to offer our services, to see later part if there's something they need, they could always come to us. So to create brand awareness as well. And then the other part is for LED and some of my events, we also market it online, doing digital marketing. So we will then have lead generation from there, from our campaigns.
Yeah, another thing that I'd like to understand from you is you've been doing this for about 9 years. How do you see the difference in how business is being done today versus you started 9 years ago?
So I think things have gone more digitalized in terms of previously and now. And like my new LED business, it also came up in the recent years. And I think that is also because a lot of people are now relying a lot on technology. A lot of the business these days, I think, relies on technology and digital type of product. That's where previously, probably 9 years ago, it's not so as much, the landscape is not so strong on this area.
And with all those experience that you have acquired so far, if you can turn back time and speak with the younger Florence, what are some business advice you will give her?
I probably would say to my younger self that you'll be fine. Just take the step forward and don't think too much. Things will all fall into place when you believe in yourself. And just remember to always plan your time and have a good time management. And also always stay humble and be resourceful, because that would also be something that will help you along the way. And always believe in yourself that you can do this. And if you ever fumble, just remember why you started in the first place.
That's a really good one. And last question before we wrap up the show, is there going to be a fifth business?
We never know. Not in the near future immediately as of now.
And for our audience who may be keen to learn more about yourself or to find out more about what you're doing, where can they go to? I'm sure there's a lot of websites since you have so many businesses.
Yeah, they can actually go to my business website. Is overwork.sg, and that's where we basically list down all our different type of businesses, and they can connect with me personally on LinkedIn as well if they wish to.
Oh, so Outward is right now the parent or the holding group for all
Yes.
the businesses.
Overwork Media.
Okay.
It's basically our holding company for everything. Then we do have a smart tech business that's for the LED, but basically Overwork is the parent company.
Okay, and I believe you can be found on LinkedIn as well. So I'll add that into the show notes. And with that, Florence, thank you so much for coming onto the show.
No worries.